Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the sportstuff.com. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, PodMN, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Audible, Stitcher, Double Twist. Thank you once again for joining me today. It is a great pleasure to be back on board talking Timberwolves basketball. A bit of a cloudy day outside, unfortunately. Finally got a little sun here in the Twin Cities area, Golden Valley, Minnesota, and then bam, clouds again. It's just like, come on. So, I don't know. That's life, and that's the Timberwolves. We had a couple sunny days, beating the Suns and had that exciting game, and then right back to cloudiness again. Timberwolves 0 for 3 in 3 games this week. Isn't that great? Yeah, no, it's not great, but oh well, maybe we'll have a 40% chance of saving our draft pick this year. We didn't make a trade or anything, but I guess it's okay. Some of us wouldn't have minded seeing like an Okogie or a Culver trade, but maybe just wouldn't get enough back in return, that kind of thing. They'd have to be throw-ins and something bigger, and the Timberwolves not willing to part ways with guys like Jaden McDaniels and such, and I agree with that. I mean, you would not get fair value for Jaden McDaniels at this stage, because there's a strong belief that Jaden McDaniels is going to be pretty good in the next couple of years, and yeah, I agree with that. I'm not in a rush to move on Jaden McDaniels. If you're able to trade away D'Angelo Russell, who knows? Obviously injury prone, he's too expensive. You could go on forever. Trading Anthony Edwards, are you crazy? Unless it's for like a crazy haul, like some team just falls madly head over heels and all that, and then you go nuts. And well, okay, fine, but otherwise you're probably not going to be making that move either. And Carl, yeah, I mean that's sad too. That would be a very sad day as well. Well, let's look at the trades a little bit before we get to the games. Might as well just look at them. What the hell? Just kind of get it out of the way. The Buccaneers, the Bucks. Every time I see Bucks now, I think of the Buccaneers. Because, the Buccaneers beat the Bucks to winning a championship. They sure did after a couple of great seasons in Milwaukee. The Rockets are like the worst team in the league now after losing 20 games in a row. They finally ended the losing streak, beating Toronto. Poor Toronto. Ugh. I wouldn't want to be that team. I would not want to be that team. The team that helped break the losing streak. But, yeah, Houston sucks. They traded away P.J. Tucker. That's who the Wolves wanted so badly. Maybe we can get him as a free agent. Somebody named Rodion Karukas, 2021 second-round pick, a pick swap. Okay, so they kind of picked the swap. Top 9 protected. It's kind of weird. 22 first-round pick. The Rockets get DJ Augustine, who's been on like 19 teams already. Yeah, I don't know. Is he 40 yet? Is he? I don't know. I mean, he's the Lewis and Clark of the NBA, no question. DJ Wilson, 2021 first-round pick swap, top 9 protected, and 2023 first-round pick. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, let's keep moving. The Clippers stand. Here we go. Another doozy of a name. Mfiondu Kabengele, I don't know, man, okay. Conditional second-round pick and cash considerations. That's what the Kings get. And the Clippers get something a little simpler. A future second-round draft pick. Just rolls right off your tongue, doesn't it? That feels a little better. Okay, now let's get to the actual trade deadline. Vucevic. Wouldn't that be nice to have Vucevic? Well, he's going to be playing with your favorite guy, Zach LaVine, out there. Timberwolves fans, I know he's your favorite guy. I know, and he is good. Farik Aminu, who's also been in about 19 teams, I think, hasn't he? He's been all over the league. He's well-traveled. He's going to Chicago. Wendell Carter Jr., moving on with him, but I suppose for Vucevic, might as well. Not bad, eh? Otto Porter, he's been on about 5 or 6 teams already, it feels like. What the flip? He's going to the Orlando Magic. 2 future first-round picks going to the Magic. Again, they're getting a lot. But Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter, that's not bad, actually. Porter's kind of a middle-of-the-road, tweener type of player. He's literally like the definition of average. That's just the way I look at Otto Porter. Maybe I'm being mean. Wendell Carter Jr., I think, is above average, and 2 first-round picks. So, I mean, it is what it is. You're dumping guys, and you're, dumping guys, clearing space, and getting draft picks. Sometimes it is what it is. So the Blazers get Norman Powell. That's a guy a lot of people have been after. Gary Trent Jr., after doing so well with the Portland Trail Blazers, because, well, here's the thing. It's going to give him a shot now. The Toronto Raptors and Rodney Hood's going there. Both of those guys potentially getting buried on the bench. Hood obviously already was, barely getting any minutes, averaging 5 points a game. Gary Trent Jr. had been buried behind C.J. McCollum. McCollum's finally healthy again, but Gary Trent Jr. was doing so well when he wasn't being benched behind McCollum, but with McCollum back, that would happen. He'd probably get more minutes, but still, now he's getting more of a chance to really get rolling. Looks like we got a 3-team trade. Woo! George Hill's going to the 76ers, one of the more overrated. He's a veteran, and he's this and that, and he's not that good. George Hill's not that good. That's just my opinion. He can shoot a little bit. And that's about it. Ignas Brazdeikis. Okay, Ignas. They get Ignas Brazdeikis. That's not that bad. I probably mispronounced it. That's what the Sixers get. Fascinating trade there. New York Knicks get Terrence Ferguson. That's pronounceable. Vincent Poirier. That's Francais sounding. Vincent Poirier. Rights to Amir. Oh my goodness. Amir Predic, whatever it is. I sound like Sid Hartman back in the day on WCCL radio, mispronouncing every name. 2021 second-round pick and a 2024 second-round pick, protected through numbers 31 to 55. So they get a pick that's way at the bottom. Austin Rivers has been well-traveled because he's not that good. Excuse me. Going to the Thunder. Tony Bradley going to the Thunder. 2025 second-round pick, 2026 second-round pick. Why not a 2035 second-round pick while you're at it? Why not? Just trade something from like 30 or from like 10 years from now, too. Okay, the Heat acquire Bjelica. Nemanja Bjelica. I can actually pronounce that because he played here. Otherwise, I would have called him Nemanja Bjelica. That's what I would have called him. Mo Harkless is going to the Sacramento Kings along with Carlos Silva. Chris Silva. Still sounds like a baseball pitcher to me. DeLon Wright going to the Kings in a Pistons trade. DeLon Wright going to the Kings. Pistons get Corey Joseph, a 2021 second-round pick, a 2024 second-round pick. Let's move. Some of these names are just... Marquise Chris, sharp shooting stretch four kind of guy. Great. Now I'm breaking stuff. They go into the Spurs. Cash considerations, and yes, it landed on its screen. That's great. No damage. Thank you, Lord. Warriors get the draft rights to Katie Lalane. Good for them. Well, maybe he'll be the next something. Terrence Davis going to the Kings. Kings active, huh? That's another one. Raptors get a 2021 second-round pick. Next trade. Warriors trade Wanamaker to the Hornets. Wanamaker, huh? Wow. 2025 second-round pick, and it's top 55 protected. Man, that's a big one right there. Top 55 protected. Boy, you better not get that 55th pick, man. Boy, you don't deserve it. Brad Wanamaker goes to the Hornets for a 2025 second-round pick via Toronto, or from Toronto via Philly, and cash considerations. Another fascinating trade. Jeez, I'm sorry. There's too many of these. Yeah. Bulls get Theus from the Celtics. It ain't Reggie, it's Daniel, but he's okay. 3-team deal. Bulls get Daniel Theus, Javonte Green, and Troy Brown Jr. Those are actually pretty good players going to the Bulls. Bulls get Luke Cornett and Moritz Mo Wagner. That's not bad. Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson, but the Bulls look pretty good in that one, in my opinion. Rajon Rondo going to the Clippers. How about that? Getting out of the Hawks. Lou Williams going to the Hawks. They trade away the sixth man of the year for quite a while there. I can't imagine Lou Williams is the happiest guy in the world, but the Hawks are actually pretty good and their uniforms rock. 2023 second-round pick for the Clippers via Portland, and there it is, a 2027 second-round pick from the Clippers, and cash considerations. Is Rajon Rondo that good? Or has Lou Williams dropped off that much? Maybe he has. But then again, yeah, it's second-round picks and stuff and cash considerations. Here's another one. This one I guess I get in terms of the Magic just wanted to really clear up everything. The Celtics get Evan Fournier, who's a nice sharpshooter, for Jeff Teague will be waived, and 2 second-round picks. There's no year on them yet. Okay, they just literally gave away Evan Fournier for, I don't know, I would have taken him. This is an interesting one. Heat from the Rockets. The Heat and the Rockets. Oladipo. Victor Oladipo, that guy who was hurt forever, but when he's healthy, he's really good. He's going to Miami for For Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, a 2022 draft pick swap. Interesting. Not bad. Magic, here's one where the Magic actually got something back, but they kind of had to in this one. They get Gary Harris and R.J. Rampton and future first-round picks with no year on it yet. That's funny. For Aaron Gordon, that's the one everybody thought the Wolves were going to get, but we probably would have had to give up a valuable asset, obviously. Gary Harris and R.J. Hampton aren't that exciting, but Harris can shoot, but he never played for the Nuggets lately. He's been just, he just hadn't been getting the minutes anymore. Gary Clark on the Magic, and that's it. That's your draft tracker. Sorry if that was a little bit much, but might as well have covered all of that. Might as well talk about it. It is what it is. Let's get to the Wolves games. Plus, the Wolves games are depressing, and a couple of them, I'm not going to say a whole lot. It's just, the flow in these games wasn't real good. We lose after, you get all excited after the 41 and 42. Carl with 41, Anthony Edwards with 42. Yep. He took an axe, and he gave the Phoenix Suns 42 whacks, and Anthony Edwards gave the Phoenix Suns 42 whacks, and when Carl saw what Anthony had done, he gave them 41. Yeah, that was cute. But the next night was cute also. The Wolves kind of hung in there for about 3.5 quarters, and then the Suns just pulled away. That's about all it was. It was underwhelming, kind of depressing. We played well in the third quarter for a bit there, and then the game just kind of went Phoenix's way. Rapido after that. It just did. There was no real major doubt that Phoenix was going to win the game most of the way. Jaden McDaniels started. He played pretty well, actually, for the most part. Played a lot of minutes. He was efficient for the most part. Anthony Edwards, though, he got 10 rebounds and 6 assists, but generally speaking, only 11 points. What a drop-off. Ricky Rubio, one of his best games of the year, 21 points, 10 assists. He looked really sharp. And he's the kind of guy you'd want to pick up in fantasy, especially have a guy named LaMelo Ball on your roster. Like I was fortunate enough to pick him up in free agency at the beginning of the season. He was just floating around out there. And I was like, holy crap. And look how good he's doing. Holy crap. And I picked him up. And then now he's broken his wrist. And Rubio, who I actually cut to pick him up way back at the beginning of the year because Rubio wasn't doing anything. Well, guess what? Rubio's back on my roster. Because he's playing so much better. So we'll see. I also picked up Devontae Graham, I believe is his name, from the Hornets. Because he's actually going to replace LaMelo Ball's spot. So it's going to be interesting. Karl Anthony Towns played pretty well. Ricky Rubio played well. It was a solid, fun game, I guess, for the most part. And then it just kind of got depressing. It was depressing if you're an Anthony Edwards fan because he couldn't make bleep. He was 3 of 8 from downtown, but everything else, he was just clanging and missing, and he turned the ball over 7 times. Those 6 assists mean nothing because he had 7 turnovers. It's like it completely got negated. Your assist-to-turnover ratio there. I mean, just look at the numbers there. It's nuts. 6 assists, 7 turnovers? I don't know. That's a mess. No turnovers for Rubio. Now that's an assist-to-turnover ratio, 10-0. Culver returned, and, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to bash on him, but he doesn't look good. He doesn't look good. Jared Vanderbilt's really disappeared off the roster as well. It's kind of sad to see. At least in this particular day against the Suns last Friday. The Wolves end up losing 113-101. It was not a fun particular game in the second, basically into the fourth quarter. It just got more and more depressing. And you were hoping for Anthony Edwards to have some kind of an encore, like 25 to 30 points. 11 points and 18 shots. Yep. So you can tell I was a little bit down about that one. You got the weekend off. You got to rest, relax. We're going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder at home. We'll be fine. We'll be fine against those guys. We started out okay, and then it was just like, what is this garbage? What is this? Seriously, somebody tell me what this garbage is. It was crap. I mean, it just turned into a garbage game, especially as you got later on. It was like the Wolves were doing fine, and then SGA just went off for 31. Karl Anthony Towns had a great game statistically. Statistically had a great game. Didn't have a whole lot of help other than Jalen Noel's 14 off the bench. Naz Reid's 9 off the bench was okay. Okogie getting a lot of steals, I suppose. That's nice and everything. Then you have guys like Jared Culver, 8 minutes and virtually nothing, like a 1 rebound. I mean, Jaden McDaniels, 15 minutes, almost nothing. It's depressing. And, Jared Vanderbilt returns to the lineup, plays 16 minutes, doesn't score, but he did a little bit of other things, steals, a couple 4 rebounds. He was okay in the game, but Oklahoma had 5 guys in double figures. Good, solid performance. all around. And of course, again, Gilius Alexander. I don't know how to say his middle name there, or his whatever it is. I don't know how to say that. SGA is the best way to say it. Obviously, a great game for him. Very efficient, 23 shots, 4 of 6 from downtown, 11 of 23 generally speaking. Got to the line a little bit, 6 of them. Rubio, 1 of 5 from downtown. Edwards, 2 of 7, 6 of 16 overall from the floor, 16 attempts, 16 points. Rubio, 11 assists. We appreciate that. To only 1 turnover, I mean, obviously fantastic there. Protecting the ball and getting lots of assists. Again, a guy you'd want on your fantasy team right now if he's floating around for some reason, which is possible in some leagues. Obviously, the lineup's going to fluctuate with different rosters because, Chris Finch thinks that way. He's a great basketball mind. I think he's good at what he does. The roster, the morale, I don't know, just something happened. I don't know. It's like we got all high, and then when we just didn't beat the Suns again, which shouldn't be expected, really. I mean, they're a damn good team. They're way better than a lot of us thought coming into the season. And then it's just, I don't know, this kind of game was a morale. You know how you say morale boosters for this and that? This was the opposite of a morale booster. It was a morale deflator. It was deflating, particularly in the second half. Obviously, great numbers for Carl, but it took 28 shots to get there. He wasn't particularly good, generally speaking. As I try not to cough to death, you can probably tell I'm not feeling 100% my best. It was worse a few days ago, but of course now is when your voice starts getting affected and you start coughing. So I got that big, beautiful pause button to help me prevent putting coughs in the show, which wouldn't sound good. The Wolves got a lot of steals in the game. I mean, 2 for Vanderbilt, 2 for Towns, 2 for Rubio, 4 for Okogie. That's kind of cool. It's a nice stat, I guess. Arby's, we have the steals. Maybe they should have something like that. Steal some roast beef sandwiches or something. We had 11. Maybe they should do some kind of a bit with that. Well, you did get a French dip in this one. 14 threes made. The Wolves had struggled in that department for a few days, even when we were winning. It was funny how we were actually making a few less threes. But 112-103 game where the score doesn't reflect on how miserable this game was becoming. It was like, what the hell? There's like no energy. The effort just was lacking. It was weird. It was depressing. And you're going to be saying the same about the frickin' Mavericks game coming up. Quite depressing. A couple of days later, Wednesday the 24th, of Marzo, whatever it is. I'm just messing around. Happy 41st birthday to Paul Caniff, good friend of mine, of course. 128-108. And the Wolves were playing fantastic in the early stages of this game. Off to a great start. And then Dallas just went off, and the Wolves defense just stopped playing. We just stopped playing. It was ridiculous. Second half was horrendous. 32-18 in the third quarter. 40 points given up in the fourth, 40-35. We managed 35, but it was empty stats, and that's the only reason why Mr. Anthony Edwards has 29 points. It looks pretty that he has 29 points. Now, of course, the numbers are getting there. Not so pretty. 22 attempts to get there, 3 of 12 from downtown, just jacking up and missing. I don't know. It's a typical not real good Anthony Edwards game, basically, is what it is. And hopefully more and more of these can kind of go away, and he can replace them with efficient performances. But at age 19, he's just not there yet, and we gotta weather the storm when it comes to that. Karl-Anthony Towns, another poor shooting night. I mean, it's just he'll put up numbers, but it's not the prettiest thing, 4 of 9 from downtown. I've seen worse than that for sure, but 8 of 20 overall. I don't know. I mean, that's 40% for your starting center, and I don't know. That's what happens, though. Porzingis is long and tough to deal with, and he outplayed Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm sorry. He did. He is long and difficult, man. He is a tough SOB. He kind of reminds me of Arvydas Sabonis a little bit. A little bit. He's not as fancy, but the frustration, the defense, how he's just so long and he's tough to deal with, that kind of thing. How he can shoot right over you. He can reach right over you, and I don't know. And he's just gonna affect your line of sight when it comes to passing and shooting. He's just difficult to deal with. He's like a machine out there, literally like a robot with long arms. He's good when he's healthy. Kristaps Porzingis can take you on a playoff run. Honestly, if the guy could stay healthy, Dallas could go on a playoff run. Josh Richardson's better than the numbers he has. He just doesn't get enough shot attempts in a lot of ways. He's a talented guy. That's a nice big three, so to speak. It really is. You even have Tim Hardaway Jr., 21 points off the bench. Just torched us. Jalen Brunson, very solid guy off the bench as well. Double-double performance. He had a 16, 11, and 5. Kind of like Garnett in his early days. Not bad. Before it became 20-10-5, it was 16-11-5 or something like that. Jalen Brunson, nice performance off the bench. Josh Green, what happened there? No, he didn't do a whole lot. But Trey Burke, almost forgot about that guy too. But it's sad, It was a sad, depressing game. Great start, and then kablooey. It just blew up in our face. Hernan Gomez was easily the second best player on the floor. It was not Anthony Edwards. He was not efficient. Rubio was terrible too. Thank you very much. Just after signing him from fantasy, and he puts up this 1 of 7. Yay! He just made 1 3, and that's it. The whole game. Didn't get to the line or anything. At least Edwards got to the line and made 8 of 9, which is better than a lot of the games he's played in. But Hernan Gomez, awesome off the bench. Got to give him some credit. Culver just looks like a zombie. It's sad. He looks like a zombie. It's depressing to watch. Oh, man, 6th overall pick, huh? Really? I mean, that's pretty high. 6th overall pick, and that's all he can do. I don't know. Just miss a ton of games, finally come back, and just look like he doesn't. I don't know. It's he kind of needs to get traded, I think. But what are you going to get for him? That's the sad part. It's depressing. But nice game for Juancho Hernan Gomez. He's been really solid, really efficient ever since Chris Finch took over. I'm going to give him credit. And Jaden McDaniels hit half of his shots. 9 points. Got to start in the game. Vanderbilt was solid. He provided a bit of this and that. Stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. The solid defense, but again, a little bit overzealous with the fouls, of course. But you're dealing with some tough power forwards, starting and on the bench. When it came to the tough big men, so to speak, not just power forwards. When it came to the Dallas Mavericks throughout the night, 5 personal fouls each for McDaniels and Vanderbilt. It's crazy. Both of them almost fouled out. A little bit overzealous, but still, at least they played decently. I wouldn't mind both of those guys remaining in the starting lineup at the end of the day at the forward position. Maybe if you're going to only start one, though, I think I want McDaniels out there. Because, Vanderbilt can only do so much, and obviously his minutes were limited. Hernan Gomez got most of those minutes later on during the course of the game. But a depressing 20-point loss versus the Dallas Mavericks. It was a typical Wolves versus Dallas game that doesn't go well, especially with Porzingis in there. He is the most difficult guy to deal with when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks. As great as Luka Doncic can be, he has games like this all the time. 6 of 16, 15 points. He's not perfect. He's this is probably like really bad for him. But Porzingis, if I'm Dallas, Porzingis is the guy that seems to be the one that beats us every time, much more than Doncic. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. Karl Anthony Towns has a hell of a time with really super talented big men. It just seems to be the case. He even attempted 9 3-pointers in the game, which is funny. He can do a little bit of everything. I mean, he is like Arvydas Sabonis in a lot of ways. Great player. Porzingis, underrated, let me tell you. Under-frickin-rated. The Knicks should have kept him. But it is what it is. With that said, let's pass out the awards. Karl Anthony Towns is going to get the Lone Wolf Award for this week. It's like by default. It's like common sense. I mean, nobody else deserved it. Rubio had a stinker here. Edwards, he had 29 points, but he didn't play well. And it was a lot of garbage time minutes in the fourth quarter. He didn't score a single point in the second or third quarter, which is the most crazy thing ever. He didn't score a single point when we needed him most. He did not play well in the game. He didn't. So hopefully, again, he can get it back together. I'm not bashing him, and he's not going to get the Johnny Flynn Memorial. It's a pretty easy choice for me at the end of the day. You can probably tell where I was headed throughout the course of this segment. It's going to go to Jared Culver. I mean, he's done, man. And I hope he can shake out of this. But right now, he looks like he's done. Like, he looks like the kind of guy that he's just going to give up and stop playing in the next 2 years or something. It's really sad. Or he's just going to be out of the league like Johnny Flynn. Johnny Flynn was just out of the league before you knew it. Because he just couldn't play. William Avery, that kind of thing. So depressing. I mean, the Wolves had so many of those kind of guys where you thought there was something there, and then there just wasn't. But a 6th overall pick, a little different with William Avery was I can't remember, was he 14th? Yeah, 14th pick. Who's the other guy? Johnny Flynn, yeah, 5th overall. No, 6th overall pick. So, yeah, Rubio was the 5th. So you might have a little bit of something relative there. 1 bleeping point. Ugh. He made 1 free throw. Well, who? Can't even make free throws either. Thank God for that 12-3 because I was able to get a French dip after that. I don't get French dips after every time the Wolves make the 12-3s, but this time I did. It had been like over a week since I was able to get one, and I did get it. Thank you for making 3-pointers at least, guys. That's about all I can say. Anthony Edwards in the fourth quarter helped seal the deal, I suppose, but that's it. Thanks for the French dip, Anthony. Other than that, hopefully we can have a better performance moving forward. Again, Johnny Flynn Memorial is going to go to a guy who also went 6th overall, Jarrett Culver. With that, we'll take a quick break, and what do we have coming up? I normally have it all set and ready to go, but we'll talk about that in the next segment.
Guys, if you don't play better this week, you're fired!
And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 2, preview segment. And for almost not saying the teams we're going to play this upcoming week, I'm going to be fired next. So, but, well, yeah, they're here in the second segment. We play Houston twice, once tonight and Saturday. So Friday and Saturday, we get to play the Houston Rockets. Wow. Well, we'll see if we get swept by the Rockets. Well, we better get the number 1 pick in the draft then. That's all I got to say about that. And then we play at Brooklyn. I think we have an idea how that's going to go, unfortunately. New York Knicks coming to Target Center to wrap up the month of March on the 31st, April 31st, and then Friday, Memphis. I'm actually glad they could keep it to 4 games, and I pretty much think they'd have to anyway. 5 games would be a little bit insane. So I guess, luckily they get Wednesday, or they get Thursday off. Yeah, there shouldn't have been a back-to-back anyway. They get another Friday, Saturday next week at Memphis, Philly, Stackville, Indiana. It's crazy. I had no idea Houston was this bad. It's like I was keeping up with the NBA, but I think the Rockets are just so uninteresting. I didn't realize how many games in a row they were losing. I remember it was getting to like 10-ish. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty bad. But 20 is another story. It's just absolutely nuts. Eric Gordon's still there. Kevin Porter Jr. He was traded earlier this month. February to the Rockets. I'm sure he's thrilled about that. He has a quad, conveniently, out since March 19th. Eric Gordon strained groin March 12th. He'd been out for, he used to be out all the time in his days with the Clippers and the Hornets, so to speak. D'Angelo Russell, left leg soreness. Of course, we all know what that is. Again, the arthroscopic surgery, and he's pretty close to returning. So we'll see what happens with Rubio in the future. These are the first couple games of the Rockets, and then we play an entire month after March 27th with April 27th. We visit Houston. Both these will be in Target Center. So golden opportunity for the Wolves to build up a little confidence because I think we need some. It's been a pretty ugly 3 games here. Houston had lost 20 games in a row. It was 18, 19, 20 there. They lost to Golden State on St. Patty's Day, 108, 94, 113, 100. That's 19 losses in a row on March 18th. And on March 19th, it's funny how the numbers are almost adding up, they lose by only 2 points and lose their 20th consecutive game. Oklahoma City Thunder on the 21st of March. I'm looking at the wrong date. Yeah, it was March. So it was the 19th, lost on the 19th, and then the 20th, lost in a row on the 21st. March 22nd, Destiny had it. They crushed the Toronto Raptors somehow. I don't know how they did it, but they did. 117-99. Woo. Congratulations. Over the Toronto Raptors. And then they get absolutely obliterated by Charlotte without LaMelo Ball. That's funny. 122-97. Thank you, Devontae Green, for the good performance. I got to look at the one where the Rockets finally won a game. Were they? Yeah, I don't know. Let's just see. I got to look at this. So they were getting beat most of the game and then just exploded in the fourth quarter. Good for them. Good for the Houston Sprockets. Yeah, Wall has been healthy, and he did get a triple-double. John Wall, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody cares about John Wall anymore. No disrespect. Norman Powell. This may have been his last game, maybe his second last game with the Toronto Raptors. Lowry never got dealt, did he? Maybe they wanted a little too much. Pascal Siakam. There was somebody trolling around. The Wolves were able to acquire Pascal Siakam. Like, yeah, right. Toronto, boy, that NBA championship looks like light years in the past, doesn't it? It really does. Oladipo, yep, that's why he wasn't playing. Inactive coach's decision. He was on his way out. Johnny Exum, what a mix of weird players in this roster. Yeah, well, whatever. Good job by the starters. The bench did a little bit of something as well. Yeah, let's stop talking about that. We get the point. Houston Rockets, obviously, they have John Wall. Yay. Are 24th in the league in points scored, less than us. 28th in rebounds, less than us. We are 22nd and 23rd in those categories. Field goal percentage, they're also worse than the Wolves. 29th. Wolves are 28th. Free throw percentage, they're 26th. Wolves are 22nd. And three-point percentage, they are the last place team in the league at 30th. And the Wolves are the 24th place team in three-point percentage, 34.9%. So they're worse than us in every category. That's funny. I never thought I was going to be able to say that. Wow, what a mess. Kevin Porter Jr. is actually leading the team in assists. That's weird, too. That's really strange. Can the Wolves sweep this team? Can we actually sweep the Rockets? If there's any team we can sweep in a back-to-back, I think it's this team. I think so, but will we? I don't know. I'm not that confident we will with the way we've been playing. The last couple of 2 games tell me we're probably going to split. We're going to have to be satisfied with a split. John Wall's obviously missed a number of games because he's just not, I don't know. I'm not a fan of John Wall's. I don't think a lot of people are. 21 points, 6.5 assists. James Harden was there, obviously, much earlier in the year. He put up his numbers and everything, but it was all about him. Nothing new there. Christian Wood's actually been leading the club in scoring this year. Been doing a pretty good job, 21.4 a game. Victor Oladipo was right behind him when he finally came back to play. He'd been out for so long with Indiana last year. It was so frustrating. 20 games for Victor Oladipo. He's been out, he's been in, he's been out, he's been in. And then Ben McLemore, one of the bigger busts. He's way near the bottom of the bench there. Getting a couple minutes here and there. DJ Augustine played 3 games for that club. I don't know. It's just a mess. DJ Augustine's been all over the league. DeMarcus Cousins has been a player for the Rockets. I believe they just bought him out, though, or on the verge of it, something like that. LaMarcus Aldridge has been bought out, and talk as he might be going to Miami also, joining Oladipo and Jimmy Butler and Dragic and such. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. It's going to be fascinating. Oladipo, LaMarcus Aldridge possibly. It's going to be kind of cool to see how that turns out. Kevin Porter Jr. has been really, really good. Really nice addition to the Rockets, but they've been losing like crazy. Unfortunately, hasn't translated into wins. With the way the Wolves have been playing lately, I don't know, man. I think we just split with this club. I think we split. Somehow I think we, I don't know. Maybe we can sweep them. I don't know. Maybe we win the first game and lose the second. It's going to be kind of like Phoenix, I guess. We should sweep this team. It's just I'm not super confident to call that. Okay, I'm going to be optimistic. The Wolves will sweep the Houston Rockets because the next couple of games, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to win. I'm going to hope for a 500 week for the Wolves of the Rockets, Wolves and Rockets and such. Anthony Edwards needs to have a nice game here. One of these games, I think he's going to reach 30, and hopefully he does it in an efficient manner. The Wolves end up winning something along the likes of, like, what kind of points have the Rockets been giving up lately? Not that much. Not that much. Wolves gave up a ton versus the Lakers and the frickin' Mavericks. So we'll see. I think the Wolves will manage something along the likes of 118 to. It's going to be like 118 to 110. The Wolves end up winning the game. Anthony Edwards reaches 30 in the first game. We end up winning it. Next game, we'll win again. Believe it or not, because we're young and spry. And Houston's got some players that aren't as young and spry on their roster. It's kind of a mess. It's a joke. It'll be a lower scoring game because it's just going to be. It's not going to be as pretty. Probably more turnovers and such. Final score, something like 110 to like 102, 103, something like that. Wolves end up winning. Karl Anthony Towns reaches 35 points. He's going to get 35 points in that game. He'll be the main guy by far. He'll be the lone wolf, no doubt about it. In the second match at this club. This isn't soccer, but I'm just saying it anyway. We sweep the series versus the Houston Rockets, believe it or not. I think I should believe it. And then all of a sudden, we're ahead of the Rockets. The Rockets are then the team with the number 1 pick, highest percentage. But I guess it doesn't really matter. If you're in the bottom 3, you're an equal percentage. But so we'll still be in the group. Lucky us. I don't think we're going to win a whole lot of games after this. But I do think we officially win the series versus Houston at least 2-1. if not in 3 games after sweeping on the weekend. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not 100% confident in this pick, but I'm going to go with it for the, for the reason of being optimistic. I mean, you got to have some optimism, don't you? Because we're not going to beat the Brooklyn Nets. We're not. I don't even like the Brooklyn Nets. I don't like them. I don't like James Harden. Kyrie Irving, I used to really like with Cleveland. He's just become the weirdest person I've ever seen. Why is this on April? Yeah, he's weird. Brooklyn's good though, man. Brooklyn's really good. 30 and 15. They're second place in the Atlantic. They are literally have double the wins of losses. Second best offense in the league, averaging 119 points a game. 14th best rebounding. Number 1 in field goal percentage, 49.6. Pardon me. Free throw percentage 8th. They make their free throws. They execute, and the 3-point percentage is 3rd in the league at 39.3. Brooklyn Nets, great season. They are trailing they're trailing the Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers. They're literally knocking on the door of the Bucks, though, for the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. So Brooklyn Nets have a chance to go on a pretty significant playoff run. Obviously, they have big names. James Harden, obviously a big part of things, 25 points a game. Kevin Durant has been really big time as well, averaging 29 points a game. 11 assists. 11 and a half assists for Harden. He's just been doing a little bit of everything. And Elise Johnson averaging 15 rebounds a game. Great job with these guys. Very talented group here. Whew, man. Elise Johnson is averaging 23 points a game. 15 rebounds. He's playing like an all-star, man. Chris LeVert. Well, no, he got traded to the Indiana Pacers, so it is what it is there. And I had to check on Chris LeVert here in the sidelines here. He is finally playing for Indiana. 7 games, averaging about 17 points. So cool. Nice to see Chris LeVert recovering from that kidney situation. Yep, he was with the Nets much earlier in the year. But good for him. Life-saving trade, believe it or not. Literally. Isn't that just the weirdest thing? Yeah, Jeff Green, the former. So they have reassembled almost the whole crew there with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The only guy missing is, obviously Westbrook's not there. And, of course, Ibaka, but you do have Jeff Green. You have James Harden, you have Kevin Durant. Pretty cool. You have 3 of the 5 guys there. Joe Harris, obviously great 3-point guy. Almost 50%. Kevin Durant, 43, and he's averaging 29 points a game. He's Kevin Durant again. Of course, again, missing time off and on. Yeah, he's been out, though. That's the one thing. He has been out with, I believe it was an ankle. He's on my fantasy team, so I should know. Obviously a bit banged up, unfortunately. He's been missing a ton of time, unfortunately. Kyrie Irving's been in and out, but generally when he's healthy, he's spectacular. Still 28 points a game. Him and Harden, I don't even know how they're doing it, but they're working together enough to get the job done. At least Johnson. Off to a solid start, I suppose, with the Brooklyn Nets. But, one game so far, but great numbers so far for him. He'd been missing a significant amount of time off and on. Obviously, he's not much of a big name, but I'm losing it. He had a big game, generally speaking. But he's been pretty much a role player. Just had a really nice game. I was thinking, wait a minute. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. Acquired, finally got to play in a game recently on the 24th. Played very well, but generally speaking, that's not really who he is. He had a great game, though. And we'll see how he performs as things go forward. Maybe he will work out really, really nicely for the Nets. Don't be surprised if he does, I suppose, because anything can happen, right? James Harden, again, averaging 11.5 assists, just tearing it up, generally speaking. I don't know how he does it, but he does it. I don't know how he does it, because he doesn't look like a guy that's all that spectacular out there. The Wolves do not beat the Brooklyn Nets. I imagine the Wolves losing by something along the likes of too much. I imagine the Wolves not doing well against the Brooklyn Nets at the end of the day. Who have the Nets played the last few days here? I had it up. Okay, here we go. Yep, we have not played the Nets yet. Obviously, we play them again on the 12th of April. They are 3-2 in their last 5. They lost to Indiana 124-115. A 121-113 loss to Orlando. Wow, okay. They beat the Wizards 113-106. They beat the Portland Trailblazers 116-112, and that gave up only 80. They scored only 88 points against Utah. Wow, most recently that was when Elise Johnson had that great game, but they were getting killed, so that's probably one of the reasons why Elise Johnson was in there. Empty stats, 118-88. Lousy game. Yep. Wow, that's rough. So we'll see how they do, but I do think the Wolves beat the Brooklyn Nets, or do not beat the Brooklyn Nets. Last year, maybe. Not this group. Right now, I still think the Wolves do not win. James Harden, that's why. They had nobody playing. Spencer Dinwiddie up the ACL. James Harden had a sore neck on March 24th. I'm sure he'll be playing when it's against the Wolves. And it was a hamstring. That's what it was. It's Kevin Durant. He's been out over a month. Obviously, they're missing guys, but I believe James Harden will play, and the Wolves will not beat the Brooklyn Nets. It won't be a blowout, but the Wolves do not win the game. We'll see what happens as soon as if Kevin Durant was playing, it'd be a lot scarier. Wolves still don't win the game, though, unless we have an incredible 40-point performance, something crazy, one of those type of games. It'll be another one of those games like Phoenix, where somebody just blows up and plays great. But obviously, I don't think the Wolves win. It's going to be 120 to... I think the Wolves are competitive in the game. I think Karl Anthony Towns has a nice performance again. Gets around 30, because this is his team growing up when they were in New Jersey, this and that. This is his team growing up. I think he has a good, strong performance, about 30-ish, but the Wolves end up losing 120 to 112. Strong performance, but the Nets pull away at the end, that kind of thing. Just being honest about that. I thought I had... Okay, yeah. That's exactly what I wanted. And then we play against Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks again. See what happens here. Derrick Rose has been in and out. Julius Randle's been all-star level most of the year. 23 points, 11 rebounds. He's been so good. 6 assists. He has just been wonderful. He's he's just the overall leader of the New York Knicks. And I've been very impressed with him. And I'm sure our friend Tom Thibodeau has been as well. RJ Barrett's been really, really, really wonderful. Up-and-comer. 17.5 points. 6 rebounds. I mean, he's not been spectacular, but he's off to a good start. Alec Burks also has been very helpful. Third on the team in scoring. There's not much of a floor general out there. I guess it's Derrick Rose at times, but he misses so much time, and he's never, he's never that great. Elfrid Payton has missed time off and on during the course of the season. When he's good, he's still solid, though. I've always kind of liked Elfrid Payton, and I just teased him about his hair. The Knicks are one game above 500, 23 and 22nd, or 23 and 22, third place in the Atlantic Division. Derrick Rose health and safety protocols as of March the 2nd, and I don't know what they're waiting for there. Jeez, I don't know, but it is what it is. They're 28th in the league in points scored, 6th in rebounds, 22nd in field goal percentage, 20th in free throw percentage, 12th in three-point percentage. The Knicks beat the Wolves 103-99. About a month ago, if I remember correctly. New York Knicks are 3-2 in their last 5, losing to Philly on the 16th, 99-96. Wow, these are some close games. Orlando 94-93. Wow, look at these games. 101-100 lost to Philadelphia at home, almost. And then they crushed the Washington Wizards 131-113. They're just not good. I remember seeing just the look on Scott Brooks' face. He's just like, yeah, okay. Then they beat the Wizards again, 106 to 102 on the 25th. I don't think the Wolves beat the Knicks. I just think they're gonna beat us up inside. Unfortunately, Karl Anthony Towns will have another good performance. I'm sure he's just gonna keep putting it up. When will D'Angelo Russell return? It could be this week, but I doubt it. Maybe the week after. We'll see what happens. But I think the Knicks sweep the Wolves. This is funny. See, the Wolves have not played the Knicks yet for the second time. Yet the thing already says Timberwolves lost series 2-0. I hate to say it, but I agree. I think the Wolves do not win the series. New York Knicks are the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, trailing Charlotte by a 0.1% at the moment. That's funny because they have one less. We have one more loss than the Charlotte Hornets. That's kind of funny. Go Hornets! I like the Hornets, man. And unfortunately, though, no LaMelo Ball, so. They'll never catch the big 3, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Philly. It's not going to happen. Miami's buried at the 7th seed, but we'll see with Oladipo. Maybe they'll turn things around there. Chicago and Indy still hanging around with the 9th and 10th seeds. We all know how those actually count. The Bulls would be in the playoffs right now, and so would the Warriors. Uh-oh. We'll see how that turns out, though. It's going to be fun and interesting at the end of the day. I think that's some kind of a play-in deal. I forget how that works, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. New York Knicks end up beating the Wolves, though. A low-scoring, grind it out, 104-100 type of game. Anthony Edwards gets 25. Powell, I just call him Powell. Noel, I just call him Powell because that other guy. Jalen Noel gets something like 14 off the bench, like he seems to always do. And then Karl Anthony Towns is about 25 as well. It's going to be about 50 points combined between the two Wolves stars. But the Wolves lose by 4 to the New York Knicks at Target Center on March 31st. Wolves go 2-2 during this week. With that, we'll take a break and get to fan interaction.
Charisma about him and this hunger inside of him that make him have the potential to be great. The one thing that really stood out to me was just after the Laker game, we're kind of getting a little bit closer to Beasley and Russell coming back. And so Edwards was asked, hey, what do you think the potential is for this team when everyone comes back healthy? And Edwards said, hey, look, we can be great. We can be special. But everyone has to be willing to put in the work. And we're going to work hard as a team, yes. But if you don't put in your individual work, that's going to then we're not going to be as good as we want to be. And that at 19 years old, he's already trying to set a tone and send a message to everyone like, look, this is a place you come and you better put in the work or else you're going to have to deal with me. And for a 19-year-old kid to have that kind of perspective and to already be trying to set that kind of a tone, I mean, that's got to be the most encouraging thing that the Wolves see and hear, much more than even 42 points and 7 rebounds against the Suns.
Kobe Bryant. Enough said.
And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 3, fan interaction segment. Figure you might like that from John Krasinski. That's with the Jim Suhan deal, the Talk North network and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, pretty cool. Pretty cool what you heard about Anthony Edwards there. That's an encouraging sign. Now he needs to, keep asserting himself on the court. Obviously, he's a confident guy, but hopefully he can shoot a little bit better, set a little better example that way, as well as he tries to take some more and more leadership on the team. But like what I'm hearing in that sense, thanks for the retweet, guys. At TWolvesEX, at TWolvesEX is the Twitter account. Of course, again, replacing at Wolves Explosion. This is episode number 300, by the way. I hardly even have celebrated it. I'm not feeling my best, unfortunately, but 300 episodes is pretty damn cool. It's a really nice number, nice milestone. I'm proud of it. And all that. I really am. It's been a long road getting here. About 12 and a half years, right? So we're talking August 2018. Now we're 300 episodes in. You'd think it'd be a higher number, but obviously there's down periods, the lawn service and the cleanup season and such in the summer. Usually I don't record like an episode every week in the summer. It's like maybe like 1 or 2 a month, depending on the situation. And there's dry periods, obviously. But during the regular season, I try to go week by week as best as I can. Because it's good to keep up with the club when it matters most. And, of course, big news comes up. Somebody retires, somebody gets traded, somebody gets fired, somebody gets hired, somebody gets promoted, the team gets sold, and blah, 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 blah. The team still hasn't been sold yet, but supposedly there is some news with a significant person, a significant NBA familiar name out there that could be the owner of the Wolves at some point, or at least involved with the ownership group. So that's some kind of little nudge, hint news from Darren Doogie Wolfson during the course of time. Obviously, he's the Scoop podcast, and he gets the scoop often. He's good at that stuff, especially with the Wolves and Vikings and such. Lakers, Pies, Browns, that's Vinrock, Vince Germano, Levi Brown. Vince Germano's out of Australia, as I get too excited again. Levi Brown is out of New Zealand. Tanae Brown is out of New Zealand. They both retweeted the show as well. And Derek Felska, thank you very much for retweeting the recent episode 299, 41, and 42. Derek Felska out of Western Wisconsin. Of course, he's a big friend of Brave the Wild, but also looking to help out this show. Thank you for that, at least by retweeting it. Thank you so much. Let's see, now we move forward. There he is. Tanae Brown says, With Rubio playing this well, who starts when Russell is back? Because he was bad in the time he played this season. Russell, that is. I mean, Rubio was bad at times as well. But yeah, I agree. Russell was beyond disappointing for what he's getting paid and the expectation of him coming in. The getting paid part's frustrating, like how much he's getting paid. But again, I mean, as excited as we all were when he got here a year ago on the trade deadline, the alert that popped up, and I missed because I dozed off a little bit before I take a tiny little nap before I go to work, and then there it is, and it's like, holy cow, we finally got him. How exciting that was. And then it's just, he's not lived up to that at all. But we'll see. I mean, we'll finally maybe hopefully get to have the whole band together. I guess Malik Beasley's coming back this weekend, which is really cool. So Malik Beasley will be back. We'll see how things go there. Obviously, he's such an efficient player, a volume scorer. He's not a star, he's a volume scorer, where a lot of people believe that there's more to Edwards, where he's going to be more than a volume scorer. He's going to be an actual star going forward. Yep. So, and I also will give a quick shout out to the Courtside Podcast, Wayne Hunt, who is a Memphis fan, but mostly, again, the host of the Courtside Podcast. They're a big NBA show. Vince Germano, big Lakers fan. And also Timberwolves are his second favorite team from what I've heard. Yeah, pretty much, of course, dating back to Luke Longley all the way back in the early 90s, the first Australian player in the NBA. Stu Benson, also a Lakers fan. Great trio on the Courtside Podcast. Sometimes one of them misses it. Maybe they're not feeling well or they're real busy because we're all hardworking men, you know. And those guys in Australia are no different. They're great, just amazing people. Love you guys and love that show. It is as good a basketball show as there is. I'm seeing a Chuck Person clip here on Twitter as I'm scrolling up. Nice to see Chuck Person slapping his forehead after hitting a big three. Random Hoops, the Rifleman. Love that guy. Cool. I think Random Hoops is following. I think we're following each other. Yes, we are. Nice tweet, Random Hoops. I will retweet it for you. It's already got 30 likes and 6 retweets. Here's the 7th one. Chuck Person. Going back to the early 90s. The early 90s. I miss the early 90s. Let's see. What do we got here? He got his shoey. What's going on there? That must be something else. Yep. People retweeting that one. Right. Yep. Reese Pedretti liked that tweet. Yeah. The Rifleman. Love that guy. That's a cool. Yeah. That's a really cool tweet. I think there's a little more, but there's a lot of, recommended this and that. Here we go. Dane Moore tweeted out, D'Angelo Russell is expected to return to team activities for the Timberwolves this weekend or early next week, according to Chris Finch. This was as of March 22nd. Finch says Russell is ramping up day by day and has to increase his fitness levels before returning to team activities. Tanae Brown had retweeted this with a quote, and here comes the quote. I was close to giving up on D'Lo in Minnesota, but with the resurgence of a few rotation players under Coach Finch, I'm excited to see how D'Lo plays in this revamped system. Thoughts? I'm excited as well. I mean, we'll get to see what happens. It wasn't working with Ryan Saunders and D'Angelo Russell. It was not working. That's why I called it a new D'Lo, as in L-O-W, low, like bad. Yeah, it might be better. We might be back to like D-L-O, which might be a good thing, hopefully. Chris Finch seems like a much more serious guy than, it's not like Ryan Saunders wasn't serious, but the players weren't responding to him. Yeah, sometimes I feel that's me at work. I feel like I'm Ryan Saunders. Sometimes it's frustrating, believe me. But I've got enough of a Chris Finch side to me, thankfully. Chris Finch, he has a serious look to him, even though he's got a good sense of humor, which is obvious. And I think he's going to get something out of D'Lo. I think there's a chance, and put it this way, if he doesn't, time to go, D'Lo. D'Lo has got a D-go out of here. Da bleep out of here, or whatever you'd want to say. But, yeah, I am excited. I'm encouraged. It's going to be something to look forward to. I'm sorry I didn't like or respond at the time, but, of course, I'm sure you figured responding on the show is the main purpose. But I always love what you had to say there. And it's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting thought, and I'm looking forward to it. Part of me was almost thinking the guy would never return, but you got to think he's going to have to at some point. Todd Schweitzer responding quite a bit later. This is the last tweet. When I was frustrated why Marty Gunner cut off Anthony Edwards. That was weird. And then Hubert Deuce had said last week, he said, it's like she killed it as soon as he mentioned LeBron coaching the team. And then Todd Schweitzer says exactly. Yep. So yeah, it was a weird situation. Very weird. I believe that's it for the Timberwolves part of the conversation fortunately. So now we'll move to the Facebook page. I think that's it, though. Yeah, there's one comment, thankfully. At least there's something. Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. It's on the most recent post of episode 299, basically. And I believe this is Nick. Let's see. I think it is. Yep, Nicholas Simon. There he is. Can't wait for this one. I'm back from 30-day ban. Woo! Yep. Oh, yeah, I can relate. And on Twitter, I've been banned forever and ever and ever for some reason. But really nice to have you back, Nicholas. Awesome to have you back. And I've been banned for like weeks at a time. He's from Pennsylvania. Okay, Nicholas Simon's from Pennsylvania. Cool. And great to have you back, Nicholas. Always appreciate you. Keep commenting. Keep commenting. And that was a fun episode to do. It really was. This one not as fun. And partially because I'm not feeling as good. It's episode 300. That one should have been episode 300, shouldn't it? But it is what it is. We just didn't play well this week. And we got to be honest about it, unfortunately. With that said, time to get to the contact details. Of course, Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion at TWolvesEX for the Twitter account. Now for the ability to get your voice on the show, which I highly recommend. Tanae Brown, Nicholas Simon, Wayne Hunt, Stu Benson. And of course, just commenting on Facebook and Twitter works now. It absolutely works. As long as you have time to do either one, I am applauding it and thanking you so much for doing that. Audio submission, though, what you do is open any free voice recording application on the planet, on any smart device, so to speak. Open it up, press record, treat it like a phone call, talk, hit stop, save it, save it, and then share it or email it to Paladinolive@yahoo.com, Paladinolive@yahoo.com. I will convert it into an MP3 file thanks to Zamzar.com, which provides us free service, so I'm more than happy to give them a free plug at the end of the day. I knew I was forgetting something, too. That's what happens when I don't feel good. I just forget things. But yeah, I got to get to the Vig It app right now. And I did this last week, if I remember correctly. That's what happens when I don't feel well. I get loopy and I forget important things. The Vig It application, Vigit, Vigit, is the application on Android or Apple devices. There are four different ways to talk about it, basically. Social media for sports bettors. You can post about your picks and see what others are saying about games. Vig It Betting Leagues, a month-long betting competition to see who is the best sports bettor over the course of a month. So we could do that for basketball games, obviously, especially during the postseason. But I mean, during the regular season, we could. I need to create something where we could all join it, which would be really fun. I think, kind of compete against each other. You are betting free coins and you can win real prizes in any type of national competition. The whole thing is not involving real money. Very important. It is not real money wagering. These are like it's play coins. It's play money. And whoever has the most play money wins, so to speak, like a month-long betting league or something. We can have a lot of fun. There's betting stats, great information available on Vig It, like line movement and where the public is betting, so to speak, this and that, just to kind of see how things are going. Like who's really betting on this and that, and like how many people are betting on Phoenix versus the Lakers or something. I don't think the Lakers are going to be getting a whole lot of bets now because they're too banged up, and it's annoying. Phoenix might have a shot at something this year. They might actually win their first NBA championship. Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. It's going to be a weird team if it's not the Lakers, I think. It's going to be an odd one, like Utah. It's going to be somebody like that who's never won before, kind of like Toronto a couple years back. Just too many damn injuries this year. Yeah, well, welcome to the NBA. Everybody's always hurt, right? But yeah, join the Vig It application, and when they ask for a referral, put in Paladinolive, Paladinolive, all one word. And this will also be in the show description, just like the Twitter account, the Facebook page, and all that, the email address. Please join the Vig It application. I apologize for screwing around and not doing this, say, in the middle of the show, which is where it should be. But most of you, I do think, listen to the very end, so at least you'll hear it. And a lot of you that are loyal listeners to the show that want to help, please get this app and mention me as a referral. Paladinolive, all one word. Thank you again in advance for that. One final thing, if you could, please do give a positive rating for Timberwolves Explosion. Those of you in Australia that have done it, New Zealand, Canada, Canada years ago now. Unfortunately, Wiggins isn't here anymore, but I know a couple of Canadians like this show. I appreciate that so much years ago, if you're still listening. But anybody, obviously, locally, United States or Minnesota, whatever, please do write a positive rating for Timberwolves Explosion on Apple Podcasts. Stitcher is another application you can do that, or Audible, depending on which one. At least those three, I know there's a possibility you can do that. So if you could do that, it would greatly help the show, make things look more attractive to potential listeners out there. Otherwise, tell a friend or two about the show if you'd like. And miss some of you that haven't been on as much lately. Haven't heard from Wayne Hunt, haven't heard from Pampa, haven't heard from Vinrock as much, from Vince Germano as much. About as close a friend as I got out there. Keep posting, Nicholas Simon. Love you. Want to hear from you more and more as well. I haven't heard from Reese Pedretti. Man, Lucas Quayle, if you're still out there, South Dakota. I always remember you, Lucas. You know I do. I mean, we go back about 10 plus years now with Timberwolves Explosion. So, yeah, about 11 years ago, 2010, I think. Back in the day, I still remember hearing his name for the first time on State of the Timberwolves 2010. Arguably our finest work ever done back in the day. Me and Mark as the forecaster. With that said, have a good week. Hopefully the Wolves can at least get 500 out of this one and take a couple steps forward.